joining us. Here on The Future is Human, we always open with a human question, which is, how are you feeling today and how are you arriving on this call?
I just came out of a lot of meetings back to back, so I was happy that we had a couple minutes before this call so I could land properly. So now I'm focused and centered around this meeting. So I'm well.
And I see, was that a cup of tea or coffee or
Coffee. I can't live
coffee?
without.
Likewise. And can you tell us a bit about yourself as a human? When do you feel most alive? What kind of hobbies do you have? What makes you, most human?
Uh, I think that I like to sport. As a kid, I grew up doing a lot of combat sports and soccer. Football, no soccer. That's a lot of football. That's what I like to do. But my hobbies are, yeah, I think now it's also my work.
Mm-hmm.
I found out not a small 10 years ago that I really get happy from helping others.
Yeah.
So that's what I do for a living in different ways, and so that's also that. Yeah, I don't know if it's happy, but or purpose, but that those are my hobbies.
Yeah, I found on a few of these calls, it sounds like people's work is also what makes them feel human, and I
Yeah,
guess that's quite a privilege to be able to, be able to do work that also feeds that need to be human and
yeah,
happiness.
exactly.
And can you tell us a bit more, Khalil, about your organisation that you set up and the work that you do?
Yeah, I founded Stichting Cilio, and that's an organization that is helping, supporting, and advocating for individuals with lived experience. We try to help someone with lived experience within the justice system when they come out and they're done, and they're a lot of individuals want to give something back, and it's quite a quest for someone when you come out and you don't have the network, this relative new world. A lot of people who come out of the justice system never were working within the NGO, CBO world, fundraising, subsidies, and all that stuff. So we try to help them how to tell their story in a way without damaging themselves, help them position themselves, and lobby for the value that someone with lived experience can bring to the table, and not just, yeah, excuse my French, but yeah, we call it trauma porn.
Yeah.
Not just on the stage sharing your traumas, but the lessons learned from those traumas. That's the valuable thing that someone has to offer. Sometimes, and that can be in speaking, but also in working as a policy advisor, as different kinds of ways. So that's and yeah, Cilio, we started it actually out of necessity, and I think maybe I did it as a lived experience, as someone with lived experience, because I went through all the pit holes and found out on my own, and I was like, yeah, why does someone that comes after me needs to experience all the same things and build their own network? We already have one, so why not share what we got? That's we started in the Netherlands, and we grew, and now we are having European and global networks that we're building on with lived experience, with people with lived experience. Yeah, that's in a nutshell. Yeah, we do a lot more, and but we'll get to that.
Yeah. And I know that we've had conversations, Khalil, about the distinction around sort of lived experience, lived expertise, this sort of journey of people, sort of
Yeah.
using their lived experience to influence change? Can you say a little bit about that from your perspective as well?
I think that's a lesson that we learned or found out or experienced myself and with others among me. Lived experience, as I see it, is if we don't watch out, it could be a label framing and restricting someone to just one dimension and one aspect of what a person has to offer. So we always say lived experience is someone with lived experience is more than his lived experience. It's the same thing that we say that someone who commits a crime is more than the crime that he committed. So that's and it's like people who are incarcerated are different. Not everyone who's incarcerated has the same abilities, has the same genes, has the same education. We don't believe in stroking with a broad brush and calling everyone lived experience and treating them in the same. And that's the thing that we had to do is think how we're gonna give it more depth. The definition lived experience. How we're gonna give it more meaning. And as Celio, we see it actually in different stages. You have someone with the lived experience who went, for example, just to prison and came out and doesn't have any self-reflection in that way, or a person who just experienced prison. That's someone who has the lived experience. That's the lived experience on itself. Then you have the next step, and that's where we start as Cilio. When someone comes in with that, we have the next step, that's speaking with someone and training someone how to share that experience and put that experience into a context or a framework, that you have a message, something that you want to teach the other, that's yours, that's your message, your process that you want to share, and how to keep it yours as well, not to speak towards the will of the crowd, of the will of the person that gives you the assignment. And then you have the it's not like we see it in vertical steps, but more in a horizontal way. Like you can go, and for example, if someone has the lived experience and wants to work with individuals who come out of incarceration, then we're going to help them become that. And then we're going to lobby for the fact that someone is lived experience is a plus. That's as we see it, is lived experience must be part within your organization, and it must be part of your diversity policy. The same thing that if you have an all men council, if you bring women in those council, they're going to bring their own lived experience as women towards their work with them, and give the entire council more body, more knowledge, more. And the same thing counts for lived experience. And we believe that that's the way that organizations must do their HR, their recruitment, to take that in account the same way you do it with other minorities, and in all levels, because there are people who are incarcerated who are able to become directors, and but there are others who want to become a personal counselor or something. So it doesn't matter which position, and each position you have something to offer. So that's the layers that we use, and we help the lived experience individual with that, and we try to lobby by also organizing conferences and lobbying for a better position and acceptance for people with lived experience.
Amazing. Thanks, Khalil. We invited you to bring along an object to share with us that represents a sort of a moment of humanness in your work. So would you be able to share your object with us?
I brought my wallet.
Like it, yeah.
And the thing is this is for me my my journey as someone with lived experience. because when I came out of prison, I had like an old school leather wallet, and it was empty. I didn't have a bank account. My driver's license was revoked. I need to extend it. I did a passport. It was my only ID document, and yeah, I was thinking about it. But everything I did after the 5 years that I was released, this wallet. This wallet was a gift from my wife with my initials on it. So when I see it, I think about her. And in this wallet, I have my driver's license. I have my car papers, and I have passes banking accounts for myself because I didn't have one. My foundation, what I founded, and the work that I'm working in at my job at Humanitas. So everything, and the public transportation card that I went through a lot before I got my driver's license. But yeah, here it's everything that I did. I didn't realize it after I was thinking about it. But so all my achievements as a human and all that because it's all the things that give value. My wife gives value. The car paper, I feel free when I drive a car on my own. My thoughts can go their own way. And as I said before, the job that I do gives me purpose. So that's why I brought this.
Love it. And I bet it has all those business cards in it as well from the networking that you do at the conference we were at together.
Although you might need another wallet for all those.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so during on your experience, Khalil, what environments and relationships best support humanness? People feeling treated and seen as human.
I believe that a human would feel human as when a fellow human comes towards them from their humanity as equals. When someone sits across from you or approaches you as an equal, that would make you feel human because they see you as one. I believe that especially when it's about incarcerated individuals, it's really hard to go through life because you are always seen as something less or something that's broken, something that needs to be fixed. Even with the most gentle persons, with the most best of intentions, they still see you as something that needs to be fixed. And that makes you feel a little bit less human. And someone can make you feel as non-human, but so I believe that the thing to feel human is to be approached as an equal human by another human.
Yeah, and I suppose you were touching on that with even with the labels of person with lived experience or an ex-offender, or even if you have a prison number. And those kind of examples. Did you ever experience moments where people treated you as a human and you felt seen as someone who was more than just a label?
Yeah, luckily enough, I experienced a lot of those moments. I think that's the main reason why I'm sitting here. If that didn't happen, then I wouldn't turn my life around. Yeah, you want some examples or?
Well, if you've got one, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, I was like in 2015 or 2014, maybe late 14, I was still incarcerated. And there was a person coming from the Ministry of Justice, like the main office, visiting a prison, walking down and watching all the bad guys getting locked up. But he was different. He saw a person and he started to speak with us and started to speak with me. And as an equal, he was taking my words as it was, taking me serious, looking me in the eyes, answering the things that I said. And eventually I told him about an initiative that I was doing while I was incarcerating, giving a presentation to students. And he was like, can I come? The fact that he even asked, because he didn't have to, I have nothing to tell. If he wants to be there, he will be there. He asked me, can I come? And I was like, yeah, it will be great. Well, long story short, eventually he was the chairman of my foundation when I came out, because we stayed in touch. That's what can happen if you approach a human as a human and let things go as they go.
That's amazing. Thank you for that example. And if we had a magic wand and we could create a more transformed human justice system, what do you imagine would be happening, and what would it look like and feel like?
If we transform the entire justice system,
Yeah.
oh, that's.
Up
Do you have a
your
bit? It's. I think I don't. I believe our justice system is now an individual against government. Society doesn't have a place, and victims don't feel heard in our justice system as it is. And I believe that someone is responsible for their action, but I don't believe that that absolves anyone and anything else from taking their own responsibility. So in my ideal justice system, when something went wrong, something happened, a crime was committed, everyone who's directly and indirectly responsible for that to happen will be involved in that justice system. It won't be an individual. For example, if someone had mental health problems and they was asking for help by the doctor and got denied, and then in a psychosis they did something, they are still responsible for their own action, but it doesn't absolve the doctor that said you're not going to get help, or the politician that said we're going to cut on mental health budget, so there are long waiting lists. I think we forget that things don't happen in a vacuum. There's always a causality in more or less manner, and I would love to see that causality also being represented in that justice system, for the victim can understand like how that person came to do what he did, and to each his own responsibility.
Yes, that more of a holistic approach to bring in everybody who's impacted and everyone who has, contributed to the causality of crimes and other harmful behaviors to equally be acknowledged, heard, and held accountable.
Yeah.
What have you seen any, or are you involved in any sort of almost like pockets of the future? So where that is starting to happen, but maybe in small places or in small parts at all? Have you seen that or been involved in anything?
Yeah, you have like in the Netherlands, we have some neighborhood court systems. When there's like with the small conflicts that there are like locally a court system that try to take all those things into account. I believe that that's one of the ways to go as well. Like the community courts within the community will try to include the community when they settle a dispute. So that's like an example that I think that's a good path forward.
Yeah. And what do you think gets in the way of that being more mainstream, and what gets in the way of that?
I think that public opinion is in a way of a lot of solutions. I don't think that we need new ideas. I think we have the knowledge and the ideas that they already exist. And the weird thing is that in most of the aspects of life, we take into account literature, researchers, people who know stuff. We take them seriously and then follow what they say in our policy. We don't let a bridge be being built with someone who has the most awesome drawing. We look at an architect and an engineer who knows what they're doing. And with our justice system, we take in account someone who has the most awesome drawing and not the best ability. I think that's in the way of a lot of criminal justice reform. It's easy to frame it as weak, soft, and we lose the public opinion, and we lose the battles in like the talk show rooms and in the algorithm of Instagram and all those kind of. That's where we lose the battle, because politicians will always follow public opinion. I think if we need more storytelling, we need more Jacobs
and Khalil's.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and what do you think a first step towards that might look like in terms of removing those kind of public opinion barriers?
Yeah, I think that lived experience in the way that I was telling. I think that's the first step. The first step was when we started, we didn't get taken seriously. The weird part is because I identified as someone with lived experience. At my work, I don't, and then I get all the things and the doors open. When I come out as founder of Stichting Cilio, then the same doors with the same persons behind it close. And we didn't get access, we didn't get a lot of things done. So we had the motto, if you don't get a seat at the table, you build your own table. And that's what we did. We did it locally. We built in the Netherlands. We started the National Prison Conference. It was one of the biggest conferences in the Netherlands that opened a lot of doors again, because they were like, hey, these formerly incarcerated guys can do stuff. And so prove them wrong and keep proving them wrong until you make them right. And that's what we try to do. We try to prove that someone who's formerly incarcerated can do stuff. It's of value by showing it. It's of value for society, and that's the way to go. And yeah, it's step by step, but eventually, there's a lot of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and capturing, telling those stories and capturing the shifts in public opinion and engaging with the public, so that all those ideas and all that evidence, it has more chance of breaking through with that lived experience voice as well as part of that. Yeah.
And with our thing is that we always believe that someone lived experience together with a professional are more than the sum of parts. We don't believe that lived experience can replace a professional, and vice versa. You need both. You can't exist without the other. And also the framing of lived experience, because when we can also be betrayed like someone who's in need, who's sad, who needs lifting up. But there are so many people with lived experience with amazing stories who were never sad, who were maybe in hard situations, but not in need of savior. They were relying on themselves, and I don't. Yeah, maybe you experienced the same, Jacob. But I believe you take away the strength when you treat lived experience as a token, as cuddling them. Equality means also that you would treat me as an equal colleague. And when I say something stupid, you correct me. You don't gonna say, yeah, but that's Khalil's lived experience.
Yeah.
That's not equality. That's pampering, and we don't need pampering. If we prove something, we can deal with stuff. And that's also a thing that we must take in mind. And sometimes stuff happens with the greatest intentions. It's not that people are ill-willing, but sometimes you just some more awareness or education on that part.
And can you tell us a bit more, Khalil, about the internet, how it grew internationally? So you sort of said it started off very locally in the Netherlands, and obviously, kind of you were talking about in Amsterdam and that sort of almost more restorative approach that you've got there. What made it develop into something that was more international, and what have been the benefits, do you think, of reaching out across different regions and countries?
I think it started by finding something in common. I actually worked with Jacob. Thought about common space. It made me think about because in the Netherlands we had a group of people with lived experience, but we all came from different backgrounds and had different lives after prison. But we had the way that society looks at us as commonality. We had the stigma as commonality, and that's what brought us together. That's what we could identify. So it didn't matter what you were doing or if you were successful or not or anything. It was we had all the same stigma. And when we did it in the Netherlands, we reached out to Reskilled. There's an organization in Europe that's for small scale detention. They're lobbying for that. And we asked them at our symposium, can you give an example of, tell us more about small scale detention? That's how we started also the work. And after that, when they took us as equal humans, so they came, the director came, and they even brought the former Minister of Justice of Belgium with them. So they were helping us a lot by giving the conference also a bigger profile. And afterwards, we showed them that we were capable, and we worked with them. And then they had a European conference, and they invited us. Would you help us to get people with lived experience in Europe? That's how it started to grow. And in the meantime, I went with INN to South Africa. There I had totally different expectations. And when I came, the thing is, what I took with me was that all of us that were there all had different expectations and all that stuff. But that put aside, we had one thing in common. It didn't matter if you're from Angola, Brazil, Indonesia, Netherlands, or America. When you come out of prison, you have the same stigma. The taboo of prison system is global, as is the way of justice systems are global. So the effects of them are the same. And they all dealt with tokenism, and they all dealt with dependent relationships and all those challenges that you face as someone who is formerly incarcerated and want to use their lived experience to make a difference. We all dealt with the same things, and I felt like an extra motivation, especially to do it globally, because I was privileged among that group because my main job was not working as lived experience or working as Cilio. I did Cilio as a volunteer, and I founded it as a volunteer. I had a job, I had an income, I was totally independent in that case. It didn't matter for my income, for my rent, for all my responsibilities. But all the other guys and girls didn't have the same situation. So I felt also obligated to speak out and start intensifying the lobby and going global. It was also a necessity, and I believe that the people with lived experience who have the same position as I have also had a duty towards those who don't have that. And when I started speaking out and speaking like that, I found a lot of people with lived experience who were like on or off the record. Yeah, thank you. And sometimes, yeah, I can't say it because I would get in trouble. But it feels like, yeah, some breaking free stuff. But it's yeah, it's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit some of the more human moments you've had with other people from other regions, the things that you maybe weren't expecting as you've kind of grown this sort of global network?
Yeah, I think in South Africa I met a guy who was like struggling, but he was out of prison, teaching in prison, got his master's degree, and we were sitting, and he was like, "Yeah, you guys in the Netherlands have it great." And I was sitting there next to him, and I was thinking, yeah, and I was saying to him, yeah, it's true, because if the roles were reversed, probably wouldn't be as successful as he was in South Africa, and he would be more successful than I am now in the Netherlands. That was a humanizing thing for me, because you would know that the opportunity has more, the place where you were born, the place where you live, have more influence than your own talents and skills and all that stuff. So it doesn't have a lot to do with me as a person, but more with the circumstances that I just found myself in. A lot is up to chance. By chance, I was born in this country. By chance, I met this guy in a hallway in prison. All those things were by chance. And that's, we could find each other in that. And sometimes you get the luck of the draw.
I think there's something as well about what you're doing, is that you're helping by forming this network, by putting people in touch with other people, you're creating the conditions for those random meetings to happen, by putting together those conditions. And do you see that sort of happening in your work?
Yeah, I think we put them in. The thing is we chose not to go towards NGOs and ask them, do you have anyone with lived experience, and provide them. We try to get everyone with lived experience, and we approach them direct, because it would improve their position within their own organization when they are the ones that got the link towards a global network. We ask those NGOs on a different level, on all the other NGOs. We don't want to separate and create our own bubble. That's what we actually are against. We want to have everything included. But the NGOs must be part of that network. But in our network, within that network, is all with lived experience. And then you are someone who is in, for example, El Salvador, and you are doing some clerk work, but you have ambitions. Now you have a network. You know a guy in Amsterdam, you know a guy in London, you know a guy in Jakarta. You can call them, and they would start doing stuff for you. They would start approaching people for you. They would start thinking about funding with you. And if they are also part of another organization, you, the guy in El Salvador without a network, can bring those organizations together towards that network. So you help also the people who with lived experience, who are working within their own organization, grow and gain more value and within their own organization. So it's like a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with all of these things, Khalil, people with lived experience, trying to change the system, combating tokenism or burnout, or all of these other hazards that can remain present. What keeps you going when things get tough, and how do you look after yourself when the work gets challenging?
You want an honest answer? I don't. I just go.
You just keep going.
I keep going. I think, yeah, the thing that keeps me going is to look back at my life, look back at the time in prison. That helps me. Yeah, I think that the things that if I miss a deadline, it's less important. Nobody's gonna kill me. Uh, to make it smaller in my head, to don't get myself get wrapped up in it. You know, the stress is something you put yourself through. Um, So it's important to get the deadline, but it's more important to stay up straight. So I go and I try to listen to my body when my mind doesn't stop and my body does.
Yeah.
So when my body says to
Everybody
me,
keeps the score, as they say. The
yeah,
book says.
when my body says it's enough, then it's enough. Then I will take some rest and no matter the consequence, because you're always gonna miss something. And so I help, yeah, make things smaller by looking where I came from and listen to my body, and that keeps me going. And yeah, the urgency, the feeling um, that we, the time is there. That's what I really feel now. There is, and I can tell without exemption, everyone that I spoke with lived experience could feel the story, understands it, and was like, "Yeah, we get what you're doing." Either they were like, "Yeah, we're doing the same thing," or "We're going to support you." Or I never met someone with lived experience who said to me, "What are you talking about?"
Mm.
And that's also the. Then you know you have the right path. So that also that's and yeah, the momentum is there. There are people who are not with lived experience because without them supporting lived experience, you won't get anywhere. It's always the majority. A part of a majority must come up for a minority for that minority to get their rights. It has always been in history like that, uh, and that's we needed men to get women rights. You needed white people also to fight for yeah, South Africa. I mean, yeah, without you needed their support as well, and that's also the thing in our case. It's not that big. I would want to compare that with each other, but the principle is the same. The mechanisms are the same. You need people without lived experience who recognize the importance of lived experience and practice that uh, for lived experience to be accepted as a plus to society.
Mm. And what are your top recommendations that people interested in building human justice systems kind of must read? Or is there anything you've watched or on popular culture TV, or is there anything that you'd point people towards that's kind of inspired you, or stories that you'd signpost people towards?
I think, yeah, I don't remember the book, but maybe it was also a couple books. But what I read in prison were especially how people used to deal with justice before prison, before like the widespread uniformity of one system. You do something wrong, you go to prison, and if you're lucky, you don't get beat. Uh, before that, before we were locking people up, we also dealt with things, and there are like very different ways. And I really believe you have, yeah, the New Zealand is like famous, especially when it comes to criminal justice or restorative justice. I mean, um, but those kind of approaches, circular justice. I think that someone, if you want a human justice system, that means that you have to take in account how humanity dealt with justice, and then let it land, and that will give you the feeling what's right. Um, that would be my advice.
No, thank you. And is there anything else that you'd want to add as we get towards the end of the episode? in relation to your work or anything you haven't managed to say yet?
Maybe the symposium. Tell us about the
Yeah.
symposium that you're organising as well.
I think maybe, yeah, that's a nice note to end with. We are preparing to get the global community like kicked off right after the summer. And after that, we have like for every continent a team leader with lived experience. And we are aiming to get a global justice symposium that, like the table that we built in the Netherlands was small. In Europe, it came a little bit bigger. And now we're building a global table together. We want to, after the summer, mobilize everyone and share our ideas and get all the continents together with people with lived experience and organizations that support us, and launch a global justice symposium. And the idea is sharing the positive things. Like the kind of questions you were asking me, you were asking what worked. You didn't ask me what didn't work. And that's what we also believe in. We want a symposium where we can showcase the things that work in their own continent. So each continent has their own story to tell, their own path that they're walking on, and their own expertise and lessons to share. And after that, we're going to lobby together. So we're going to start this community. We already started the community, so everyone can join. Justicesymposium.global. Just pitching my website.
That's great. We'll make sure we share that.
You can register if you want. And yeah, and you're going to hear from us soon.
Yes. And I look forward, like, you know, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And if I can help in any way, then
more than welcome.
Let me know.
Yeah. Be in touch.
Great.
Absolutely.
And anyone listening, thank you. The future is human. It's been a pleasure having you on the series, Khalil, and we look forward to welcoming you to the second workshop.
Thank you. Looking forward as well.
Thanks, Khalil.